It was 8:46 in the morning.
And then we heard a plane come over, and in Manhattan, you don't hear planes too often, especially loud ones.
Right then and there, I knew it.
You. Thanks so much for coming in, and best of luck with your project. The anthology, once again, is called The Long Road to Freedom.
Thank you, Katie.
Looks wonderful. Up next, a new look at billionaire Howard Hughes. But first, this is Today on NBC.
Can I get you autograph also?
What the hell was that?
It sounded like a plane crash.
There was a reaction on the part of...
Yo, close to you!
Come to us, come to us. Come to us. Come to us. Hey, Beth, what is that? Somebody hit the World Trade Center or the...
It's a trade
Yes,
center.
the World Trade
Center.
Center. There's a fire on the upper floors.
It was just an explosion.
It looked...
think that, with a small improvement or a small change to the way things is implemented, you can get a big change without more.
The heck was that?
Was that the Encore?
Wow. It sounded like something crashed.
No, something crashed. Oh my Lord.
American Airlines emergency line, please state your emergency.
The cockpit's not answering. Somebody's stabbed in business class. And I think there's mates that we can't breathe. I don't know. I think we're getting hijacked.
Somebody hit the World Trade Center or the...
It's a trade center.
The World Trade Center.
Center.
There's a fire on the upper floors.
This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning
that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft. We have no idea how many were on board or what the extent of the injuries are right now.
Jules, this is Ryan. Listen, on an airplane that's been hijacked, and things don't go well. It's not looking good. I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good. So have a good time. And I just totally love you, and I'll see you later. Bye, babe. Bye-bye.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That looks like a second plane.
Oh, there's another one. Another plane just hit. Right. Oh, my God. Another plane has just hit. It hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it.
Oh, my goodness, there's another one.
It seems to be on purpose.
Oh, my goodness. Now it's obvious, I think.
I leaned over and whispered into his right ear, a second plane hit the second tower. America is under attack.
Today we've had a national tragedy. 2 airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We're looking at a live picture from Washington, and there is smoke pouring out of the Pentagon. It would appear that there has been another major explosion, this one in the nation's capital. There is smoke in the air over the Pentagon.
This is as close as we can get to the base of the World Trade Center. You can see the firemen assembled here, the police officers, FBI agents, and you can see the 2 towers. A huge explosion now raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way!
We're getting reports that a part of the tower, the second tower, the one a bit further to the south of us, has collapsed. We are checking on that.
United 93, that traffic for you is 1 o'clock, 12 miles eastbound 370.
Negative contact, we're looking at United 93.
When I took the call over, there was a soft-spoken, calm gentleman. I asked him his name. He told me Todd Beamer. He said, Lisa, would you recite the Lord's Prayer with me? He said, okay, let's roll.
We've got a report from a guy at 24 of a cloud of black smoke off his lap.
Wheelington 97.
But we don't have confirmation.
United Airlines flight number 93 left Newark at 8:01 this morning en route to San Francisco. It went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania.
The North Tower is leaning. Oh my God, there it goes!
I hope I live. I hope I live. It's coming down on me.
And there's, you can see, perhaps the second tower, the front tower, the top portion of which is collapsing. Good Lord.
Both trade towers, where thousands of people work, on this day, Tuesday, have now been attacked and destroyed. There is simply no way to accurately describe the emotion this evokes.
I want you all to know that America today is on bended knee in prayer for the people whose lives were lost here, for the workers who work here, for the families who mourn. This nation stands with the good people of New York City and New Jersey and Connecticut as we mourn the loss of thousands of our citizens. I can hear you. I can hear you. The rest of the world hears you. And the people who knock these buildings down will hear all of us
soon. September 11 will go down in our history as a day to remember. None of us will ever forget the pictures of our courageous firefighters and police, many of whom have lost friends and colleagues, or the hundreds of people attending or standing patiently in line to donate blood. A tragedy like this could have torn our country apart, but instead, it has united us. This event can give a message of hope, hope for the present and hope for the future. The cross tells us that God understands our sin and our suffering. And from the cross, God declares, I love you. The story does not end with the cross. For Easter points us beyond the tragedy of the cross to the empty tomb. It tells us that there is hope for eternal life. For Christ has conquered evil and death and hell. My prayer today is that we will feel the loving arms of God wrapped around us, and will know in our hearts that he will never forsake us as we trust in him. And this is going to be a day that we will remember as a day of victory. May God bless you all.
This just in, you were looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there.
A plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center here in New York City.
We don't know anything more than that. We don't know if it was a commercial aircraft.
Oh my God, another plane has just hit. It hit another building, flew right into the middle of it.
The building's exploding right now. You got people running up the street.
Sean, it's me. I just wanted to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. I just wanted you to know that I love you always.
I think we have a terrorist act of proportions that we cannot begin to imagine at this juncture.
If a popular novelist sat down and wrote a novel, people wouldn't buy this book because it would be so outrageous. This could never happen.
I don't know what to tell young people about that day. I know when I die, the first thing I'm going to ask St. Peter is like, hey, what happened? How did this happen? Because I still have questions. That was my day off. It was a beautiful day, you know, really beautiful blue skies.
It was going to be the morning of the mayoral primaries. They switched me to do election duty that day.
Like every other morning, we were sitting around the table just going over what was going on with the kids, with the family.
I was in my bathroom taking a shower, and I had a window that faced south, and I heard what I thought was an explosion.
At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the World Trade Center North Tower, Building 1. It was one of 4 planes hijacked by 19 al-Qaeda terrorists that day. At first, it seemed a tragic accident, an airplane off course.
As I'm watching this, trying to figure out, do I have to go to work? The second plane hit, and I saw it on TV. And that was it.
And all I seen was this huge fireball coming out of Tower 2, the South Tower. And for a second, I didn't know what it was. I thought maybe just the building blew up.
I ran downstairs, and I'm looking south, and both towers are on fire. And it was stunning.
With the second catastrophic strike, it became clear that the country was under attack. New York City mounted its largest rescue effort in history, dispatching more than 2,000 firefighters, medical workers, and police officers to Lower Manhattan.
It was a little hard getting through the streets because there was debris all over. Stuff that had come out of the building from the plane hitting it.
You gotta remember, the North Tower is fully engulfed. It's people are jumping out of the windows, and you can hear them hitting the deck.
There was these popping sounds going off. We realized it was people that were either jumping off the building or falling out of the building.
I did not look. I was not going to look. I'm very protective of my psyche. I only need to see what I need to see in situations like this. But you couldn't close your ears.
Rescue workers rushed in to help the more than 16,000 people still inside, putting their own lives on the line. Officers Bill Biuri and Mark DeMarco and their team entered the North Tower, Tower 1.
We ended up at Stairwell C, and we started our climb up.
We're running into other people. I said, just follow the wall down. When you get outside, I said, try not to panic. I said, but run. I said, get away from the side as fast as you can. And all of a sudden, the lights went out, the building went dark, ceiling panels were falling down.
It sounded like a freight train going by.
And the whole place was shaking like an earthquake. With this, our radio started getting very active.
15 floors down from the top. It looks like it's totally glowing.
glowing red. On the inside, it's inevitable because I don't think this has too much longer to go.
At 9:59 a.m., the 110-story South Tower, Tower 2, crashed down in just 10 seconds.
And that's when a little bit of shock started setting in, because we knew what these buildings looked like. We knew how long it took them to put them up. And for something like that to come down in a matter of seconds, it was just mind-boggling. You couldn't wrap your head around it. One of the officers that was outside, he put over the radio, he said, everybody who was in Tower 1, evacuated immediately. Get the hell out of there.
DeMarco and Biore, along with Sergeant Michael Curtin and Officer John Delara, saved civilians from certain death, ushering them from the stairway and lobby. The men then made their way from the North Tower to the adjacent building number 6. There, they met McNally and his partner Claude Danny Richards. Then, only moments later,
one plane colliding with one twin tower. Oh my God.
It's collapsing. It's collapsing. Roll your left. Watch out. It's collapsing. I hear that the North Tower is coming down.
Oh my God.
And we put our heads down, and we held on to each other, and we tried to become as small as we possibly could.
And I just laid there, and I remember saying goodbye to my wife and kids.
I remember seeing all 4 of my kids, one after another.
I had time to get out one prayer, and it was, dear God, if you're going to take me, please make it fast. You know, that's how scared I was. I was terrified.
I remember saying to myself, I said, is this death? Is this what death is?
And I was waiting for like a piece of steel to come through my back and out my chest or something.
the 110-story North Tower landed on Building 6, blasting a crater through it, only a few feet from where McNally, Biore, and DeMarco were huddled.
You've probably seen the large cloud dust. Well, we were in it. I had a respirator, and that became very clogged very quickly, and I couldn't breathe. And you start really panicking when you can't breathe. All of a sudden, it was silent, and you're like, wow, I survived.
I started moving my fingers and my toes, and I said, I guess that's a good sign. I figured I got my limbs, and I figured I was alive.
I don't know how long we were there or how long we were in that spot. But we ended up getting up and we all met up.
Visibility was still horrible. Little patches of fire were breaking out. And I said to myself, the building collapse didn't kill me. I said, no, I'm going to burn to death. Bill Berry yells out, he goes, I think I found a way out. I think there's a hole over here, a hole in the building.
And we got this conga line, and we'd go try to get out. It was Mark DeMarco, me, and Billy behind me. You could still see our handprints on the wall as we were guiding ourselves blindly.
We were able to climb out the windows out to the outside mezzanine level, which was facing West Street. The bridge was all collapsed. Everything was dead silent. No cars, no birds, nothing.
McNally, Biore, and DeMarco searched in vain for 3 NYPD officers who moments before had been right there with them. A search that would continue for months on end.
They couldn't find Mike Curtin, John Delara, or Danny Richards. And we didn't find them until the following spring. They were buried under the sheer weight of the World Trade Center. And they couldn't have been more than 20 feet behind us when the tower came down. And that was the focus of the rest of my days there, was making sure that people knew exactly where I thought these guys were, you know, so that we could recover their bodies.
And to this day, I don't understand why I'm still here. There's a guiltiness about it, because there's a lot of them. They were more talented. They're just better people than me. They didn't make it. I was able to come home. I was able to see my family. I was able to see my kids grow up.
I'm fortunate, I'm lucky. You know, I thank God that I'm still breathing, but I inhaled a lot of stuff, and, you know, sometimes that I don't think about it, but I know that there might be a ticking time bomb in my chest, you know?
To this day, only 60% of the victims have been identified, most only through traces of DNA, leaving more than 1,000 families without any remains of their loved ones to bury and mourn.
I miss my friends, even the ones who survived. They're not the same. There's a lot of guys who are coming down sick with cancers that are horrific.
I think about 9/11 every day. I mean, it's not. It doesn't consume me where I feel I need to go see a shrink or seek help somewhere. I just don't ever want to forget it. I don't forget it. Wear a memorial bracelet with the guys who perished that day. Sergeant John Coughlin, Sergeant Michael Curtin, Sergeant Rodney Gillis, Detective Joseph Vigiano, Police Officer John DeLara, Police Officer Vincent Dance.
NYPD, issue Truck 7, 9/11, 01. And there's only been one time that this hasn't been on my arm. In 2013, I had open heart surgery.
What I always try to tell people about that day is that there were so many heroes that day. So many heroes. Helping each other down the stairs and out into the lobbies. And it was a day when we needed heroes, and many of them showed up. Did we get everything right? Probably not. Did we do the best we could? Yeah.